The following was developed by public education agencies in association with the Agency for Instructional Technology. Together, programming for today's learner.
这个品种不好，
怪鸡瓜。
对了，大尾巴。
从头来，别。
The world's population is unevenly distributed over the face of the earth. In some parts of the world, there are almost no people. In dry lands like North Africa, Southwest Asia, Central Asia, and Central Australia. In wetlands like the interior of South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. And in cold lands like the north of Asia, Europe, and North America. While in other parts of the world there are major concentrations of people, like in the eastern United States and Canada, Europe, South Asia, Japan, and East Asia. This program will consider the reasons why population is distributed the way it is by examining the question, why do people live where they do? We will first focus on China, a country in East Asia. About 25 out of every 100 people in the world live in East Asia. China, the largest country in the region, has a population of over 1 billion people. This legend will be used to create a population distribution map of China. The light color represents places with low population density, and the dark color, the places with high population density. The map says that population density is highest in the east central part of China. It decreases as you move away in all directions. Population density is lower in the west and in the north. Near Beijing, on the North China Plain, lies the evergreen cooperative. Here, there are 4 distinct seasons. There is plenty of water and fertile soil. This is one of China's important agricultural regions. Because a variety of crops and animals can be raised here year-round, this cooperative is one of the most prosperous in all of China. At the Evergreen Cooperative, people live and work together, like the Ho family.
端走，慢慢来。
The wide variety of food they eat for lunch is grown right there on the cooperative.
今天下午，你奶奶和你妈妈上温室，咱们到麦地看看。今天麦长得不错，嗯。
领导啊去了，
哎，
林涛也去了。
今天下午，你奶奶和你妈妈。
After lunch, it is time for work.
说再见啊。好，铁锹。你往那边吧。走了。下午见啊。下面见啊。走，咱看看柿子去。
The grandmother and her daughter go off to one of the many greenhouses where crops are grown throughout the year.
里边的不好，这品种不好。
怪西瓜。
对了，大尾巴。
它这没没尖儿。
Meanwhile, because today is not a school day, Mr. Ho takes the children with him to the fields. The daughter says she learned that China has two parts, agricultural China in the east and outer China in the west, and that most of the people live here in the east. She asks her father why. Her father says that most modern Chinese, like their ancestors, are farmers, so the features of the natural environment have much to do with where the people live. Unlike agricultural China, outer China is a land of high plateaus. It has towering mountains and vast deserts. The father reminds the children that their cousin lives on a cooperative in outer China and has sent some photographs. We'll look at them tonight, he promises. That evening at the community center, the Ho family discusses the differences between where their cousin lives and where they live by looking at the photographs.
这是草原，这是长满着绿草的山，这是农民在耕地呢，在耕地。
The son points out that it looks much drier there. The daughter says, "Cousin tells me their growing season is much shorter and the soil is not so fertile as here." Now I understand why people live where they do. In agricultural China, the soil is good, there's plenty of water, and there are 4 seasons. As a result, plenty of food can be grown there, and the region can support a large population. In outer China, the soil is poor, water is scarce, and the growing season is short. As a result, less food can be grown there, and fewer people can be supported. You have seen why people live where they do in China. How about in other parts of the world? In Egypt, the Nile River provides the country with its main source of water. Because Egypt is a dry country, the location of water is of major importance. As a result, most people in Egypt live along the Nile River. Like in China, some parts of Egypt are drier than others. Also, like in China, most people are farmers, so the natural environment plays an important part in where they live. Cities also locate along the Nile. They use the river as a source of water and a means of transportation. In Japan, most of the land is mountainous. On this map, the mountains are in green and the flatlands are a lighter color. Most of the people of Japan live in the flatlands instead of the mountains because the flat coastal areas are where the agricultural activities take place. It is also easier to build cities on flatlands than on mountains. In Canada, the population is concentrated near the border with the United States. This distribution is affected in part by the climate. The farther you move north, the colder it gets. Many large cities are located along rivers and oceans, which allows them to be connected to other parts of the world. In this program, you learned why people live where they do. How are these people's lives affected by where they live?